The police officer recorded in his police report that a bystander, a witness, told him that he saw the other driver go through the red light, causing this accident. Can I use that police report as evidence to prove that the other driver went through the red light? You want to know the answer? Come join me for a moment as I share with you some great information. Hi, I'm Gerry Oginski. I'm a New York medical malpractice and personal injury attorney practicing law here in the state of New York. This is a car accident case. I get the police report, and now it says that a witness told the police officer that he was standing on the corner and saw the other driver go through a red light, causing this accident. Can I use that report to get into evidence to prove to the jury that we are more likely right than wrong, that the other driver was careless and went through a red light? You want to know the answer? The answer is maybe and maybe not. But more importantly, we have to look at something else. The police officer has an obligation to record certain information. The information that he recorded in his report was not something that he personally observed. It would be different if the police officer wrote down, I was sitting in my car at the corner of this intersection and I personally observed the other driver go through a red light, causing this accident. In that instance, the police officer has an obligation to record his observations. In that instance, I would argue that we can use that information to show that the other driver was careless, went through a red light, was negligent, and now caused this accident. But how did the police officer get the information I described in the headline? A witness told him that's what he observed. What do we call that in law? That's known as hearsay. The police officer didn't personally observe it. Instead, he's talking to someone who said, I saw it. This is what I saw. These were my observations. So the police officer is recording what somebody else saw and heard. Can I use that hearsay statement to prove our case? The answer in New York is most likely no. But what can I do instead to overcome this obstacle? Instead of having to rely on the police report to show that we are more likely right than wrong, that the other driver was careless and went through the red light. The best thing to do is to get that witness, that bystander, into court to now testify. But before it ever gets to that point, the better thing to do is to send an investigator to meet with this witness. Then to interview the witness. Hey, Mr. Jones, I understand you were at the corner of this intersection when the accident happened. Yes, I was. Tell me about what happened. And now the investigator can go ahead and get details from this witness and have him fill out an affidavit, a sworn statement that says, here's what I was doing, here's my name, here's my address, this is what I was doing at the corner, here's what I observed. So now we record all of this witness's personal information and personal observations, and then have him sign it and swear that this is his statement. So now, 2 or 3 years later, when the case comes up for trial, now I can give this statement to the witness, because obviously his memory is not going to be as precise as it was within a few days of the accident. And now he can refresh his memory based upon what he personally observed and recorded in his own statement. Now, when I bring him into court to testify, I can have him go ahead and tell the jury about every single thing that he observed. That I can do. But to have it on a police report, which now the police officer did not personally observe, that is going to get an objection from the defense, claiming that that statement is hearsay. Okay, not a problem. We're going to bring in this witness to testify, and now I'll get over that hearsay objection. So why do I share this great information with you? I share it with you just to give you an insight and an understanding into what goes on in an accident case, or even in a medical malpractice case, or wrongful death case, when it comes to evidence and trying to prove something based upon what somebody else said and observed, rather than the person who actually recorded that information. You know, I realize you've got questions or concerns about your own particular matter. Well, if your matter happened here in New York and you're thinking about bringing a lawsuit and you've got legal questions, what I encourage you to do is pick up the phone and call me. I can answer your legal questions. You know, there's something I do every single day, and I'd love to chat with you. You can reach me at 516-487-8207 or by email at Gerry, Gerry, at oginski-law.com. That's it for today's video. I'm Gerry Oginski. Have a fantastic day.